Hey everyone, this episode is with Josh Bennett from HealthLock. Josh came on to talk to us about his family, medical bills, and how HealthLock helps families achieve a peace of mind. HealthLock specializes in auditing insurance claims and helps members fight back against errors and overbilling. We talked about how bills can stress you out when you have a family and what services they offer so you know your medical bills are processed correctly and you don't spend all day on the phone investigating it. We encourage you to check out their website at healthlock.com and see if they can help out your family. Thanks again, Josh, for your time.
Today we have Josh Bennett on. And Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself. How many kids you have?
Yeah, I'm dad of Josh Bennett, dad of 3, married 20 years, director of operations at HealthLock. My kids are 2 boys and a girl. Oldest is Kaylor, 18, Tavin, 16, and Brecklin, 12.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the birth order again? Is it girl, boy?
Oldest to youngest, boy, girl.
Boy, girl? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So got a little princess at home.
Yes. I have the reverse. I have girl, boy.
Nice.
So I feel like whenever both the girls are in high school, I'm just going to be like, hey man, just wait out the storm and then you'll have the house all to yourself.
Right.
Like, or anything. And you'll be fine, man. Just stick with me for like 5 years and you'll be okay.
And how old are yours?
Mine are 8, 6, and 2.
Okay. Well, it's still got a ways to go.
Yeah. Not there for a bit.
Yeah.
Mine is 2, and it's mine is a girl. She's about 5 days younger than
5 days younger than my
Wow.
son. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
My son's name is Josh also. So
awesome. It's good name.
So his daughter is not 5 days younger than you. Just
Hope not.
Where are you originally from? Are you from Nashville? How long have you lived in town for?
No, we've been in town for about 14 and a half years from the LA area, California originally. It was a little bit of started out as work, but then also a little bit of my wife's side of the family. They since, it was her sister. They since moved south to Birmingham, but my wife's parents still live here, and it worked out to be the right move for us. So, a lot of things are different than they were at that time, but just in our lives. But it turned out to be really good. What God wanted us to do. Yeah.
What's some of your favorite things? I know you've been here for like 14 years, but what are some of the favorite things you found being in Nashville?
Well, obviously a lot's changed from when the kids were little to now, right? So, some of the stuff we used to love, the zoo and Adventure Science Center, some of the staples. Now we love, watching movies and kicking the soccer ball around with my daughter and things like that.
Yeah, we live just a little bit north of the zoo.
Nice.
I'm a stay-at-home parent. I'm looking at my son on the monitor right now as he takes a nap. And so, we have a zoo membership and a science center membership, and those are weekly adventures.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, actually, I as an adult enjoyed the science center. There's some great stuff there.
Yes, there is.
It is so much fun.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I'd been there once before with my nephews, and I guess I just wasn't really into any of that stuff. But then took my daughter there and was like, whoa,
yeah,
I can have a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's like, wait, you want to go over to that? No, I'm not done over here yet. Like I'm still playing.
Yeah, sometimes you take your kids to like science center or zoo or something like that, and like the completionist in me is like, no, we haven't gone to this corner yet, so we can't actually go home yet.
Exactly.
I don't want to pay for pizza here because it's really expensive. So how do I make this happen?
And we were always the family. I mean, my wife is always, she's the frugal to the nth degree. It's just, we're paying to get in somewhere. We're going to stay all day till they close. That's just what you do to get your value out of this. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you for that.
Well, Josh, so HealthLock.
Yeah.
That is your company. So tell us a little bit about that and what you do.
Yeah, it's HealthLock is great, especially for families. HealthLock is a digital solution that helps reduce stress, complexity, and cost of healthcare. Because, as we all know, it can be extremely stressful. It syncs with your insurance to automatically organize all your claims, review them, and flag potential issues like errors, fraud, or overbilling. And we also have features where we alert members of provider breaches. We can help fix medical fraud, and upon request, we can even negotiate overcharges on your behalf and try to put money back in your pocket. So, and the model is a subscription service for some of those core features, and then a shared savings if you engage us to negotiate on your behalf, and we save you money. So, if you do that, we don't save you anything. You don't pay anything extra. And then I should also mention, we actually this HealthLock will be available to MasterCard cardholders as a credit card benefit, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, since you have this business, that it actually happens a lot more than most people know of overbilling and fraud and
a lot of people don't even realize they need those things are happening, right? Everyone kind of has a threshold of this bill is $300. I'm too busy to even think about it. Fine, I'll pay the $300, right? Even if there's errors. Or some people it may be $1,000, some people it may be $50. Who knows, right? But everyone's kind of got their threshold, and sure, there's a cost benefit analysis to do there, right? A little bit for people, but anything over a few $100, really, there's the potential for errors. Over 50% of medical bills, we've there's experts that have been sourced all over the place. Over 50% of medical bills contain errors, which is pretty staggering when you think about it. Yeah, and all of those things are not necessarily have a financial impact, but we do get a ton. Obviously, that's part of what that's really the core of what our service, the value our service offers. So, people sometimes don't even realize that they need this, or that organized crime plays a huge part in medical fraud and things like that. So we can help clean those things up for you. But really, 60% of bankruptcies are based on healthcare debt.
Yeah,
and that's a huge number. And so we really we love everybody I work with. The entire team loves working here. One of the main reasons they say they love working here is because they actually get to realize the benefit, the impact of what they're doing for other people, for regular people like them, right? Like us. So it's incredible when you get to save someone, $500 or $10,000, which does happen. Even there was one part of our business, we saved someone almost $300,000.
Oh, dang.
So in one large appeal. So the work we do works. It actually works, and is worth the cost. In fact, for people with medical bills, it honestly, in most cases, pays for itself. So
So how did you get started? Did you yourself have an experience like that, and you're like, hey, I think I can help others, or
So interestingly, so I didn't start the business, but I came to it a couple years ago, about 2.5 years ago, when I met the owner. And previous to that, I had been in the music industry of all places for over 20 years, and working with data. And when my family, we actually have plenty of medical issues. I actually have a kidney disorder myself. My wife had breast cancer a few years back. I have a kid with Asperger's, and I've got a kid with chronic medical conditions, right? So we're just inundated. So I had to learn the hard way before I knew about HealthLock, how to navigate the medical system. And thankfully I had, excellent insurance, but I don't know that necessarily everything was getting adjudicated properly. And when I was, like I said, I was in my last role, my past life for over 20 years. I was looking for something new. And I met the owner through a neighbor of mine, and we sat down and had coffee on the porch, and the rest is history, right? So, healthcare is, if you go research healthcare, you'll see like the biggest thing, what feels broken about it is all the data, right? So trying to really help the process and streamline the data, and just make the navigating the healthcare system easier for the average Joe who just doesn't know, And I don't know if you've ever written your own appeal or anything like that, but it's a little arduous, and you don't know necessarily what's going to work, what to write. that's the great thing about our team is that they've had decades of experience doing this. So they know, carrier by carrier for the most part, especially with the big ones, like what's going to be important to them, what to write, and obviously always putting, being ethical about all of that, right? Not just so we're gonna do everything within bounds to maximize the benefit to our members, and so it's been a great experience.
Yeah. No, I used to work at a dentist office before Quentin, and staying home with kids. And dental insurance drastically different than health insurance.
Yeah.
But even in that realm, doctors would do like a root canal, you'd send off to insurance, and insurance would be like, I don't think that needed to be a root canal. And so then we'd have people on at the company who would then argue with insurance basically to be like, no, this is why doctors are root canal.
Yeah.
And if you're the patient, you're just sitting there and you're like, all I know is I don't want to lose my teeth and I like eating food. So
and you're going to take your doctor's recommendation and think about being a patient. Like thankfully that dentist office had someone who would argue with the insurance and explain the medical necessity, right? Yes. Think of being a patient trying to get your doctor to go talk to the insurance and you're not on the phone. So you don't, like trying to navigate that as a patient is arduous in and of itself. Right.
Yeah.
And hoping that your doctor is doing what you need them to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're toast.
Side subject. My dentist is now not
participating
in any insurance whatsoever.
Yeah.
Is that probably one of the reasons why? He's just fed up with all the bureaucracy.
Yeah. Think of like if you're a small business, which is what most dentist office are, is a small family-owned small business.
Yeah.
And you send something out to someone and you predict, hey, you're going to pay 50% of this. And then they go, no, we're going to pay 30%. And you're like, I was expecting the extra, like you were going to pay. So now my patient has to fit the bill, has to fill the difference of that. Where if you don't have insurance, it's just like, hey, this is a procedure. This is how much it costs. Then have some like payment options available, basically.
That's why you get some doctors out there nowadays who they do the same thing. They don't take insurance. You just pay out of pocket. They try to make it basically, if they're going to be your doctor, you don't need insurance, right? Maybe for catastrophic things like that, but you're just going to come and pay, and we're going to make it affordable enough to where it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's probably why. Because dental insurance is kind of like a coupon. It's like, hey, here's my coupon for my free cleaning for the year. And by free, I mean I pay $20 a month for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And think of the amount of money you would save too, like for people who are healthy and don't really need to go to the doctor so much, right? You still got to pay an insurance premium. Or decide not to go with it. You're probably better off not going with it.
Yeah. No, it's sad because I had sinus surgery back in like 2013 or so. And I remember my ENT specifically coding it so it wouldn't be coded as like a nose job, basically, like a deviated septum. So they knew how to do that. I think I had to pay like my ENT an amount, and then like, because it was like, here's your estimate, pay this amount. And so I did. But then the estimate started being off. So like they actually had taken more money than they needed to from me. And then the other people like, hey, we're billing you at the exact same time. Yep. And they're like, well, I thought I already met my max out of pocket. And they're like, no, you didn't yet. And they're like, no. I'm not paying you guys more money. I already spent whatever my max out of pocket was. I'm not paying you more money. So,
well, and this is also the reason some providers, especially like a hospital system or something like that, will try to estimate what you'll owe up front and require you to pay up front, which they can't actually really do. They're not supposed to do that. But they do, and people will do it. And it's like, because they think, well, if I don't pay it, then they're not going to do my procedure, right? So but then if it gets adjudicated and they owe you money back, they don't just cut you a check off the bat. They hold that in essentially like escrow.
Really? So how do they get away with that if that's something that you're not supposed to
do? They end up, because who knows? You may need more services from them, that year. And so they'll just wait till the end of the year and then reconcile things. And then they might send you a check.
Yeah. And then there are companies that actually hire. I had a friend who this was his job, basically, was that difference between estimate and payment. His job was to go through that data and then write checks for people. But it was never like in a timely manner, because think of how many processes that has to go through before a hospital even is willing to send it out to a third party to clean it all up for them.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things we'll do too. And that's, those are we get some of that is in what we'll do is we'll just have the provider cut us a check, our member a check immediately, right? Like, hey, we don't want you holding on to that anymore. Because sometimes we'll call on something else and we'll find out they have a credit on their account.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, some of that's also like staffing, like to have enough people at a practice to then reach out to be proactive. Like being proactive, I think, is every company's dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reality is most like being proactive at a company is one of this dream everyone's hoping to achieve.
Yeah. Well, and that's from a customer service standpoint, right? Everybody wants, obviously that's the dream. Of course you want to be proactive. You want to give your customers amazing service. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the best things about HealthLock, in my opinion, is the automated, once a member syncs their insurance, all of their claims flow into the dashboard, and it may take a day or two or three, but once all their claims are in there, the system automatically reviews them and verifies or flags every single one. So then, even if you don't have any errors, at least you have peace of mind that okay, these are okay to pay, right? Mm-hmm. Or if they're flagged, no, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pay that one because even though there's a flag on it, I know that it's okay. Or that looks weird, I'm going to click lower my bill and have you guys try to do something about that. And so just that peace of mind, because for most people, you get medical bills in the mail, you don't know if it's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. You just don't know. And it's true. Like I've experienced that myself. Everybody I talk to the same thing. And really it's just, you gotta question. So we're out there to try to take that off of people's that burden off of people.
Yeah. Some of the most frustrating things for me with medical bills is the amount of medical bills. Instead of just saying, here is what you owe for all of the services that happen, like say for my umbilical hernia, it was, okay, here's for the doctor that did the procedure. Here's another bill for the anesthesiologist.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not going to send that until like 2 months later. And you're like, what? A couple $1,000?
Yeah.
What?
You've got like your own board against the wall with like strings going from this to that, being like, hey, I think this is all connected to the same bill, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember I was going through a divorce and I dealt with that. And I was just like,
too much paperwork,
so much is going on. It's so frustrating and infuriating.
I think it's hard too for a lot of people who try to be financially responsible and stay up on their bills and things like that. The healthcare system it's slow, right? So it just takes time sometimes. So you might get a bill and some of the charges have been, processed through insurance. Other charges have not, so it's like, you just have to wait till the next month's bill, right? And see when everything gets processed. And sometimes, even when things go to collections, we can still be impactful for members, but there's like this window, right, where all right, everything's been processed, and now you're still getting these bills that show how much you're like, well, that still doesn't look right, So that's when it's like, all right, well, everything's already in our system, so now you've got your flags, you can click on it, and we can get to work for you.
Nice, cool.
So, what are some of the most common medical bill issues for, say, parents?
Yeah. ER is always a common one, and with hospital systems and ERs, especially, like there's what's allowed in an ER setting as far as what can be charged is kind of ridiculous. And especially when providers know that they're billing an insurance, that cost is higher than if you were paying on your own, so it's really kind of a crazy system. So ER just overcharges, but like justifiable overcharges. Like when I say justifiable, not good or right, but they can justify and defend why, and maybe sometimes they can't, but they can get away with it, maybe charging 3, 4, 5 times more than the average in their zip code. That kind of thing, which is just not right. But let's face it, healthcare is a business. As much as it is for the benefit of humans and their health, it's a business. And every hospital system out there, every provider, they're out there to make money as much as they're also trying to help people at the same time. So it's like, how can we do both of these at the same time, right? And maximize profits. So, so that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many different stories, from, we had one member who, they had a baby, and then not that much longer, after delivery, I think it was maybe within the 6 to 9 months or something, the mom came down with cancer, and so then the dad's sitting there, his wife just got diagnosed with cancer, and they're getting all these bills from the hospital around the baby being born. And these don't look right. Like he has time to do any of this, right? Yeah. And we were able to get them, and so he paid a bunch of it. We were able to get him like $2,600 in refunds from that. Yeah, stuff like that. Another dad, as you mentioned, you were going through a divorce at one time. Like another dad who was going through a divorce, and his wife at the time had taken their kid to an ER a bunch of times. And he didn't think it was justified. Like they didn't really need to be there, and then had them do all these other different things. We were able to save him $13,000, on that. Yeah. So there's a lot of different tips and tricks that we do, and obviously our automated analytics, our proprietary sort of secret sauce, but the expertise of our auditors is really also really what makes the magic happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys work just in Tennessee, or are you like nationwide?
No, nationwide. Yep. Cool. U.S., but nationwide.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know, because I feel like that's the other fun of just dealing with like in-network, out-of-network, all those terms just make everything make you feel like you need a master's degree.
Yes.
Physical,
Yeah, and procedure codes and diagnostic codes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us ways parents can protect themselves with this kind of stuff. What?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is our alerts to them on provider breaches, right? Just protecting their medical data in general. Your medical data these days is I think we've read 10 to 40% more valuable to organized crime than your social security number. Medical data breach is the new identity theft. These days, it's the fastest growing segment of fraud.
Really?
Yeah. So that's one thing from a protection standpoint, but also just from a financial protection. It's like you'd be doing yourself a disservice not to have a service like HealthLock. Aside from the fact that it just makes navigating your healthcare claims easier, having them all in one place. But then also it's automatically telling you when there's a potential issue, right? Yeah. So at least you have some idea. And then wait a minute, there's someone there who can actually, if I'm willing to give them a share of what they save, there's someone there who can actually go fight for this for me, and with really minimal interaction. We might need you to upload an invoice or an EOB or whatever it is, just a reprocessed EOB, just so that we can confirm, yep, this got done, you received it, you're getting a new bill with that new amount, so we know we did our job and everything is good to go. Aside from those things, we keep you updated, but for the most part, we try to take care of it. Once you click that button, it's like, we got this for you. But we make sure the system facilitates you signing your HIPAA authorization so that we can talk to providers on your behalf and the carrier on your behalf. All those things we'll coordinate. If you have more than one insurance, we'll coordinate those benefits for you with the provider. So we try to just take the burden of navigating healthcare off your plate. But unlike most healthcare advocacy firms, and we have plans to build out more of those types of services that don't involve saving money. But unlike most of them, they don't really fight to save you money. They help you. Maybe they might tell you what to do. We're going to do it for you. So that's really the big difference. And we know how, because we've been doing it for decades.
Cool. Hope to help save people money and then advocate whenever advocating is necessary. And
yeah, I mean,
the best.
Yeah, we advocate in that process, right? And because sometimes it requires sometimes they're complex appeals where there may be, by the letter of your plan, that service was not covered, but there's a reason it should have been, right? Something like that. So we carefully draft those types of appeals, and we're when it comes to appeals, we're pretty successful getting them overturned.
Yeah. No, I think the worst phrase ever to hear in relation to insurance when you're the patient is not medically necessary.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to argue against that, because clearly you submitted this code, you submitted this thing because your doctor thought it was medically necessary.
Yeah.
And have your insurance be like, but are you sure?
Yeah.
It's just it always makes me want to lead more with anger and emotion.
Yeah.
And cool, calm-headed, hey, seriously, I need to have sinus surgery. This isn't an option.
Well, and most people don't know this either, but there's multiple levels of appeal, right? So you may get a denial, you may write an appeal, they may deny it again. You think, all right, I guess that's it, like this. But we don't stop there. We continue to go and try to provide more information until we've even gone to the State Department of Insurance before. In a number of states to try to get something overturned, because that's really the last stop. And but who's going to do that on their own time, right? Or let alone know that you can. Yeah. And but why are there multiple levels? Because they're guessing that you're not going to take the time to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're betting on it.
Yes. How just for you as a person, it would be hard for me to in your role. I would feel cynical about some of this stuff because it's not. That's I'm like, that's not a nice thing to do to a person.
Yeah.
How do you keep optimism? How do you keep positivity to yourself?
Because we know we're helping the patients. We know we're helping all the people that are just like us and just like our parents and just like our families and our friends. You know what I mean? We're helping people, and we're seeing that it actually works. We're finding the flaws, we're finding the errors, we're finding the chinks in the armor of the system. You know what I mean? And it's working. So that's what keeps all of us going. We're excited. We actually have a bell in the hallway that every time we save money, someone's ringing the bell. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Nice. Where's your guys' office located? Are you in Nashville or are you in suburbs?
Downtown Franklin.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
And have you yourself been had fraud or red flags, and you're like, hey guys, why would you try to do this with me?
Are you also a member?
Yeah.
So I'm an interesting, unique situation. Just for my own personal choice has been, and I have had commercial insurance before, but I don't currently. I use a healthcare sharing ministry thing, but I have learned from our auditors different negotiation techniques and things like that, right? And I have had them negotiate some claims for me, which has been great. So that's the great thing too, is that it doesn't just work for people with commercial insurance. Even if you don't have an insurance that can sync with the system, you can still upload a bill and have us, one-offs. We can do that for you as well. Yeah. So it works for a wide range of circumstances.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so it's almost all insurance companies that you work with, or just
pretty much. We cover over 250 carriers.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To work with that many carriers takes some definite expertise of processes and patterns and what to look for.
Yeah. So awesome. Yeah. And like I said, even if there's a carrier that we don't, some random carrier that we don't have, or your claims are administered by some other third party, things like that we don't connect with, or whatever the case may be, we can still kind of get your data in there manually with your help, and then you can then the system will process those things, and you can have us go to work on your behalf as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work for a landscape company. And I don't have my insurance. I use my wife's insurance, but our insurance through the company that I work for is horrible. So I will tell every single person that's in our company to check you guys out, because man, they have so many issues with
processing information,
and just like saying, well, we're not going to cover you on this anymore. But we'll cover you on this. Yeah. And they're like, well, what the heck? You said that you were going to cover me on this, and now you're not. Now I'm getting out on money. So I'll definitely.
Yeah, please do. That's the most frustrating thing. You know, there's some companies that are, some insurance carriers that are, you know, more reasonable than others. There's some out there that are really shady. I will say, just from experiences we've had. We had one just last week where, like, you look online, all the reviews, even the members said, like, you know what, everything about them is horrible. It's like, well, why'd you sign up? Probably because they were cheap, right? Well, guess what? When they're cheap, they don't cover much, you know. And then you're stuck, you know. But then you start, you know, looking them up on Googling the company, and it's like all the reviews are bad, you know. That you can't get a hold of anybody at the carrier, all that kind of stuff. It's like,
that's one of the main things that they're having trouble with, is just being able to get a hold of somebody and just ask questions. So I think this would be a great asset for our company for sure.
Yeah, at least it takes that piece of it off of your plate, you know. And if the carrier ends up being a dead end with things, we you know, worst case scenario, we usually can still, you know, negotiate a good discount for you, you know, which is, so there are cases where we cannot, where you know, there's nothing to do to save money, and not every provider is willing to negotiate. But that's, you know, that's not the majority, not even close.
And I think most importantly, from hearing you talk about this, is that you guys know what questions to ask and and how things are mapped out. And the reality is like, you and I don't sit and talk to insurance companies all day long. No. So you don't. And it's one of the most frustrating things about being an adult and a parent is you're like, what is the question I need to ask to get what I want, like to get help? Like, how do I phrase this? What do I say? Wait, there's more appeal levels? I didn't know that. I would have appealed more if I would have known that.
Yeah, right.
So I very much understand the need for your services.
And even when people do know, like, it's for those busy parents out there, especially, you know, parents where both parents work, things like that. It's like just the time saver alone, and knowing that it's being handled by people who know what they're doing is worth the cost.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Do you have other questions at all, Justin?
No, I think you're answering a lot of them. I am going to seriously talk to a lot of my coworkers about this, because this is a great service that you guys do.
Yeah, definitely do. Anyone can go sign up on HealthLock.com, and if they have a MasterCard, they can actually, there's a big banner that'll pop up from the bottom of the screen, or from the top of the screen rather, and they can get a special MasterCard offer. So
cool. Nice. Yeah. Well, we'll probably, so how we end all of our episodes is we ask every guest the same 5 questions that are pretty fun questions. Before we do that, is there any other thing you want to say about your company or business or anything like that? I feel like we covered a ton of good things about what all you guys offer.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think I just, especially going back to the theme of the podcast, right? It's like raising a family is challenging enough on its own, you know? And so, but especially for those that have healthcare issues, it just increases those challenges exponentially. And it kind of makes everything in life, the focus is on healthcare, you know, because it's just so hard to navigate. So, I just say that's the best part about working here is working for HealthLock is our mission to reduce that burden on families so they can focus on living, on getting healthy, you know, and just loving each other. So that's it.
Nice. Well, Justin, awesome. I'll leave you to ask the first question.
Awesome. Yeah. So you have 3 kids, and did you have any backup names?
So I have the worst memory in the world, but I always say when we had our 3rd kid, I literally lost my brain. But I do remember my wife wanted to name our oldest Brock, and I wasn't down with that because I had known someone in my past that I wasn't fond of named Brock, and although I like the name now, I wanted to name him Tabor. That was her brother's name. So she wasn't going to name him after her brother. And so we landed on Kaler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What about your other 2? Did you have any backup names for them? Or can you seriously not even remember?
Yeah. Not that I don't think so.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's okay. So. I forgot my daughter's middle name.
And he only has one kid.
Yeah. No excuses.
None. What? Never let him forget it. If you remember listening by this podcast. Next question. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
Let's see. I think I'll go with James Dutton, 1893.
Oh, nice.
That's the first time we've gotten 1893 reference. Yes.
Some Tim McGraw.
Yeah, man. Yes. I just finished that probably about a month ago.
Did you? Is it good?
It was a good series.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a least favorite kids TV show?
Oh, that's a long list.
Or movie?
That's a long list.
You can do top three. Top three least
favorite. All right. Well, two come to mind immediately: The Wiggles and the Teletubbies.
Oh,
which thankfully my kids never watch Teletubbies. I would never allow that. But the Wiggles. I don't.
What is the Wiggles?
It's singing and dancing, right?
Yeah, it's these 4 Australian dudes.
Yeah.
That got rich singing and dancing on stage for kids.
What's with Australians and kids shows?
I don't know.
Bluey is also Australian.
Yep.
Probably Blue's Clues would be another one. Oh gosh.
It's because it's repetitive, and like we're watching it from like an adult point of view. We're like, the answer's this. Don't spend 20 more minutes.
Right. Oh, and Zora the Explorer. Dora the Explorer.
Yes. Which, I mean, I understand it. You're interacting with the kids. It's fun, blah, blah, blah. But whenever you hear for like the 5th time, like, what's the answer from the TV? You're like, please stop.
And just her voice. I just can't take anymore. Yeah.
Next question. Do you have a favorite kids toy or activity? Like favorite toy or activity to do?
I mean, love playing board games with the kids, but and I don't know if you guys have heard of what is it? Dang it, now I can't remember. Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. You familiar with this one?
I've heard of it, but haven't played it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's just like a slappy card game. But Bop It is another fun one. The Bop It. I've been surprised how much life we've gotten out of the Bop It.
It's also really hard.
Yeah.
Bop It is legitimately like it's like Simon Says, where like you make it past the 3rd round, and you're like, oh, I'm not really this.
If it's anything like Simon Says, I was horrible at that because of my memory. Like, what was the first one? Oh man.
Well, and with Bop It, at least it even tells you like what to do next every time, right? Yeah. But you gotta then. It's just the muscle memory.
It's just a good reminder that you're bad at following commands. It's all Bop It.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That was people I'm so bad at.
All right. Last question. So, what is the moment of your kid's life you're most excited to be a part of? Could be all 3 or just one that comes to mind?
Yeah, no, I think generally for all of them, I think it's when they start discovering what they really want to do in life and helping them pursue that. I'm excited to do that. I have an 18-year-old, and he's definitely he thinks he knows what he wants to do, but it's the actual pursuing of the thing that's a challenge. So,
is your 18-year-old in high school or college?
Neither, and doesn't want to do college. He wants to produce EDM music. So, but he's a talented kid, and so we fully support it. But it's just a long road. So, yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that moment whenever you see like the spark, for lack of a better to put it, in your kid's eyes, actually live. Even like, I mean, for my like 8-year-old, she's discovered Harry Potter recently. And, like, while her level of excitement is tiring from time to time, it's still really cool to see her get lost in the world, and become obsessive about it, and be like, "But Dad, what do you think about? Do you realize that like what happens in the next book?" And I was like, "Oh, you're fully engrossed in something," and that's so hard to do the older you get.
Yeah.
So you want to like respect that energy and like encourage them,
and encourage them to explore things that they're passionate about at whatever point in life they are, right? So that they can see how long that passion lasts, right? Versus, taking tennis lessons for a few months and, then the racket gets thrown in the bin in the garage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cause just not their thing.
Yep.
So,
if we want to learn more about your company and everything, what's like website address? What's the best way to like reach out to you guys and contact you?
Yeah, healthlock.com, and then support@healthlock.com, or I believe info@healthlock.com also works. Either way, you can get to someone who can help you.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Josh, thanks so much for spending your lunch break with us.
Josh. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks, Josh.
Take care. Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Nashville Dads and to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcast. We record at New Light Podcast Studio and episodes are produced by me, Devin.